Almost live from the XM studios in downtown Canada. This is the show that sits down to chat with some of today's best stand-up comics. This is Comic Stripped. Now, here's your host, Ben Miner.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Fun time today. I got a guy. You're one of the first guys I ever remember seeing on a weekend at Yuck Yucks who wasn't from Ottawa. John Paul, how are you?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. This is dope.
Right on. Fucking long time. You've got kids and a family now. You've done
man.
stuff. I have no more hair.
I know. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, but you remember my hair before.
I had a ponytail, dude.
Did have a
I used to
ponytail.
braid my hair like I was Allen Iverson. It was ridiculous.
Now I remember the Allen Iverson
ridiculous.
look. That's a good look.
It was a good look.
It was a good look. So how you been, man?
Everything's been good, man. Things have been picking up in the last little while. You know, like you, I'm a bit of a soldier when it comes to the whole comedy thing, and just keep trudging along and doing my thing, man. I love it too much to stop. So
It's been a while, right? You've been doing it now, right?
I've been doing it a little while, man. I kind of jumped back into the game in, I'd probably say 1996 when I heard of Kenny Robinson's All Black Comedy Nubian show, and that's kind of when I jumped back in. I hooked up with my boy Russell Peters, and he was like, "You got to come check this show out," and he was the one who kind of dragged me to.
So you knew Russell before comedy?
We knew Russell. Russell and I have known each other since we were about 19 years old, man. Yeah.
How?
I started trying to do comedy when I was 19, and him and I hooked up because he had just started, and he used to take me all over the place with him because we were the only two, kind of black and brown guys that were of the same age and same kind of sense of humor. And then what ended up happening, real quick story, long story, is I did a showcase for Mark Breslin. This is how far back it goes. It was when they had the club at Bay and Young.
Holy shit.
Bay and Bloor.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So I did a showcase, and Breslin pulls me aside, as he does everybody else, and gives the critique of what they thought. And all I knew about comedy at 19 was talk about what you know. And all I knew was about being a young black kid that listened to rap music at that point. So I was pretty positive and respectful of who I am, you know what I mean? So one of his comments was, if we were to hire you and send you all over Canada, a lot of Canada isn't as multicultural as Toronto is, so they're not going to get this stuff about black people that you're talking about unless you're talking about stealing cars or doing drugs. And I was reading Malcolm X and listening to Public Enemy at the time, and was pretty much, you know what, go fuck yourself. I think I can do this on my own. And then I kind of stopped and went back to school and bumped into Russell in 1996, and then he was like, "Where the fuck have you been?" And then he's like, "You got to come check this shit out," and the rest is history from there, man.
Man, what were you taking in school?
Marketing at the time, just because that's what my dad wanted me to take. So
you got like a real degree in real stuff?
No, I didn't finish. I never finished.
There you go.
My degree's in comedy, baby.
Yeah, right on.
For real.
Holy shit! I didn't realize that you started at 19 and then walked away.
Yeah. And again, is because of what was said to me.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Wow.
And I might have even misinterpreted. Now that I think about it, hindsight is 20/20. Even with glasses, is he might have just been saying you need to be slightly more generic in what I talk about.
Yeah, but you can't say
the way he said it. I was just like, I locked off immediately.
Malcolm X.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so and then I completely walked away. And then the calling was just too strong, and I never wanted to live with the regrets of, I wonder what would have happened if.
Well, imagine had you not gone back. Then you see Russell blow up.
Oh, my God. That would have killed me.
Oh, fuck, yeah. You dude, it could have been me. It would have been just devastating.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That'd just be fucking shit. But, I mean, you've made this name for yourself. You're regarded as one of the most charismatic comics in the country. Like, there's nobody.
Oh, thanks, man.
Who's cooler than JP? Seriously.
I don't know.
Exactly.
That's funny.
There's that voice right there. There's women straddling speakers right now. This is crazy. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
So, if you wouldn't have been a comic, I mean, you had the marketing thing. What would you have been if not a comic?
But the weird thing is, I didn't want to go into marketing. You know what I really wanted to do? This is so weird. What I originally wanted to do, I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I was born. Like, I don't have the accent, so don't think this is what we sound like. But in Trinidad, and the videos are still horrible. The music videos that they used to have for reggae and soca and stuff like that were, and still are, a lot of them very corny. And I remember seeing them growing up and going, I want to do videos. I want to do music videos for my country. But again, I was a kid, and that's originally what my my dream job was.
Well, you could maybe do videos now. Why can't you go to Trinidad and Tobago and make videos? You're JP, goddammit.
I think I can now. I think I can now. But.
Man, how good? What are you waiting for, dude? It's cold outside.
I know. Trust me.
Holy shit!
I just got back from Timmins, and it's spring, and it was 15 to 20 centimeters of snow in Timmins. It was ridiculous.
Timmins, you know Shania comes from here. I know Shania comes from there. Shut up.
Yeah, I think I bumped into her stepbrother. I punched him in the teeth. That's awesome.
Derek Edwards comes from there too, Timmins. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Ah, well done. You even made the mouth thing like that.
Strawberries. This isn't strawberries.
I'm going to play some Derek. That was awesome.
I thought I'd let everybody in on a little secret. What I like to tell people off the top sometimes is because when they look at me, they never have a fucking clue what I am, so they play like racial Jeopardy with me. Like, what is he? Is he black? Is he Indian? Is he Spanish? Is he the Taliban? What the fuck is this guy? I was born in Trinidad, in the island of Trinidad and Tobago, which is down south in the Caribbean. Thank you. Immigration in the house. Nice. But what I like to tell people, too, is like, the beautiful thing about Trinidad is it's very multiracial. If you've never been to the islands, it's like white and black and Indian and Chinese and Syrian and Japanese and Jewish, and it's all mixed, and they all mix together, and they have like good-looking people, which says something very special about my country, man. You know what that says about Trinidad and Tobago? You know what that says? We'll fuck anybody. Which is a good thing, because it's cold in February, and you got travel agents. That's all I'm saying. But oddly enough, being Trinidadian and being born in the country, we moved here when I was very young. So I don't have the accent, and I wish I had the accent because the Trinidadian accent is very nice sounding. And if I had to break it down, like phonetically or like, you know, linguistically, I would say it sounds like an island derivative of the English accent. And if you know anything about the English accent is a very polite sounding accent. Like, you know, people say stuff, hello, how are you? Chop, chop, cheerio. Good to meet you. And I had a dude after a show, when I mentioned I was from Trinidad, come up to me and he was like, man, you guys from the Caribbean, you guys are pretty fucking lazy. I was like, what kind of shit is that to say to somebody, right? Like, immediately, my first thought process was like, you know what, punch this dude in his face. Curse him out, give him a piece of your mind, because I didn't want him going away believing these bullshit stereotypes about my people. But then when I actually thought about how much effort all of that would take, like, you believe what you want to believe, man. I'm gonna go lie down. It's a misconception about my people. We're not lazy. We're just very laid back. So people mistake that for laziness. That's why I think if the terrorists had hijacked a Caribbean airline at 9/11, all this war and terrorism shit wouldn't be going on right now in the world. Because if the terrorists had hijacked the Caribbean airline, the shit wouldn't have happened. You know why? Because basically the success of the plane was based on flights leaving on time. And if you know anything about Caribbean people, we ain't the most punctual people in the entire world. That would have fucked up the whole plan, right? Ahmed, the terrorist, would have been running up to the fucking Air Jamaica counter, running up going, Mahalakha malulu! Mahalakha malulu! We were supposed to leave over 2 hours ago. What the hell is going on? The guy behind the Air Jamaica counter be cool. He'd be like, easy, na man, easy. You can't see I'm on my break.
Who are your favorite comics?
You mean, I'll tell you my Trinity. My Trinity growing up were, the one who made me want to do it forever and ever was Eddie Murphy. When he blew up into superstardom, he was the one that made me, want to do it. Cosby, Carlin, for sure. I'm still a huge fan of Chappelle and Chris Rock and Louis C.K. Obviously, everybody's got to have Louis C.K. But I think right now, one of the people that I'm feeling like the most, I happen to see him live as well as hear him on satellite and stuff like that is Bill Burr is one of my.
He's awesome.
Yeah, Bill Burr's on fire right now.
Yeah, I love his line about hair plugs.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that's such a great line.
He's one of the. He's awesome to watch, and I'm just into so many different. I'm just into comedy in general. I mean, even growing up, I was into Stephen Wright and Robert Klein of all people. You know, that kind of stuff. So I've never limited myself to one specific type of comedy.
It's like a buffet, man. A little bit of everything. Yeah.
I find I find funny in pretty much everything, or at least I try to make the attempt to find the leap of where someone as a comedian was trying to get to the funny, as opposed to going, that's this, or that's
fair.
that.
Not enough comics will go outside of their preferences, right?
No.
And it's important to find out, all right, well, I don't like this guy, but how is he killing and making millions of dollars?
Yeah, exactly.
So just watch and learn.
Yeah,
You don't need to emulate, but shit.
Yeah, and I'm not big on being a hater either.
No. It's stupid to hate, man.
I'm not big on being a hater.
Yeah, don't
Too
hate.
much energy.
Yeah,
man.
just be cool. You spend that energy, go do something better with it. Go make a sandwich.
As you can tell how I talk, I'm way too lazy to put all that energy into doing anything other than just doing.
Yeah, that's the coolest voice ever. Seriously, this is just bothering me. Everybody I ever have on my show is way better. JP's another example. Doing stand-up in the 90s in Canada, how different was the scene? I mean, for lack of a better word, how racist was it before Kenny started the Nubian show, before people started to, I don't know, acknowledge that there was more than just one or two voices in comedy?
Here's the weird thing. I don't think I really think I experienced a whole lot of that, because I kind of jumped into it from the Nubian perspective. And I think if it's anything, I have to thank and congratulate Kenny Robinson on, who definitely doesn't get as much credit as he deserves, just in general as a stand-up in Canada, not just a black stand-up, or, you know what I mean?
This is a guy who helped build the scene and had to tour and be the first one to open up rooms without a GPS, without a cell phone, none of that shit. And then he just happens to walk in as possibly the first black man they've seen in the last year.
And if you've ever seen Kenny Robinson at a show, he is always impeccably dressed.
Oh, yeah.
In a suit and either some gator skin shoes or some crazy stuff, and he's got the nice hat that he gets from Detroit. And, stuff like that. So Kenny is always been someone that I realize has like crazy style, and is still to this day one of the most current comedians. He will literally either read the papers or look at the news and create material every week on what is going on, in the world. So people think he's not relevant, but he's not only relevant, he's still current.
And he can riff.
As well.
I love watching Kenny riff.
I
went to a Nubian show, and there was a girl in the front row, and she was like maybe, I don't know, 23, 24. And Kenny's like, what do you do? She's like, how old are you? She goes, I don't want to say. He's like, well, why don't you want to say? And then she wouldn't say. Then he goes, what do you do? She goes, I'm unemployed. Or she had just dropped out of school or something. And then he just turned it into a DeVry commercial. She goes, I see. Yeah, money ain't right. Money ain't tight, but it ain't right. And then he just started going off on it. It was the most seamless.
Dude, it's people out there, if you've never been to a Nubian show.
Hottest show in Canada.
You got to check it out. Like, I mean, just the energy alone in the room when you walk in is absolutely amazing.
It's the only show I get intimidated by when I walk in.
I still get intimidated by it.
It's shoulder to shoulder. There's like, you can't move without saying, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how many people get packed into that room.
Yeah. It's like the bottom of a slave ship.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, too soon? Too soon? Okay.
And he does it in Mississauga, too, didn't he?
I think he used to. I don't know what the deal is on that one as well, but nothing will ever top the downtown.
No, downtown is
is just the energy of it's the pulse of the city, so it's pretty dope.
I like Toronto. Toronto's very multicultural as well. That's why we watched the World Cup. And I was happy that we could watch it on different stations, because I didn't like watching it on the English stations, the English commentator, the British commentator stations, because I love the British accent because it sounds polite, but it's just very boring. Like, if you ever hear them commentating a soccer game, it's very boring. It's like, and Ronaldo passes the ball to Bebeto. Bebeto passes the ball back to Ronaldo. Ronaldo passes to Zidane. He makes a wonderful strike. Ripper. Like, what? Not very exciting. But the Italians, I don't even understand Italian, but I watch the Italian games. Woo, Italians in the house, yeah! Grab your nuts, Italians! I like the Italians. I went to Italy on my honeymoon, and it was cool, man, because all I learned, everybody always say to each other, Buenos sera. That's kind of cool, man. Grab your nuts and be like, Buenos sera. Buenos sera. And no gas. That's all. So if you don't like gas in your water, you no gas. That's what I learned. But the Italian commentated soccer games, woo, I don't even understand Italian. But you turn on the TV, the Italian commentator be like, Ronaldo the back of the Ronaldo. And that's just the players walking onto the field. They're like, woo! It's gonna be a good game. But I got married. I'm happy about that. I got married. That's so great. Give me a round of applause for that. It was cool. Here's what I'm going to say. I think there's a positive and a negative to being married. That's what I'm going to say. I love it, but there's always a balance in life, right? And I'll start with the negative and finish off on a positive because I want people to finish off feeling good about marriage, right? I don't want to think that I'm shitting all over it. But here's what I didn't know before being married. I didn't realize that you can get into an argument with your wife over shit that doesn't really fucking exist. And her really be fucking mad at you. We were watching Law and Order. And she's Trinidadian. She still has the accent. So I love arguing with her because it doesn't really make me mad because it sounds nice, right? Like she'll freak out, I don't think you take me seriously. And I'm like, man, just keep talking, baby. Just keep talking. So the episode of Law and Order was, there was a dude, he was a drug dealer, and he sold drugs to his girlfriend's little brother because this little brother was a junkie, and he got some bad shit, and he OD'd, and he died. And then they had a court case, and he was charged with murder. So we were watching this, and then in between one of the commercials, my wife turns to me, and she's like, if you were a drug dealer, would you sell crack to my little brother? So now I gotta get into context of what the character is, right? So I'm like, what kind of drug dealer am I? Am I a little 2-bit drug dealer? Or am I like, am I blinging? Do I got a nice car, a little Mercedes with some spinning rims, some 20s? Am I sitting on 20s? Am I blinging out? And her being a woman is like, yeah, whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. If I'm that kind of drug dealer, then yes, I'm selling crack to your little brother. If you're ever in that situation, fellas, say no. She freaked out. I can't believe you would sell drugs to my little brother. Which translated into, you don't give a fuck about me? And I don't know why we got married? I was on the fucking couch that night, alone by myself, and what made it even worse is she don't even have a fucking brother.
I think Russell played a big part in changing the way comedy was treated for people who weren't either white or Jewish or black.
A huge deal. I mean,
he's a stereotype shatterer.
Not only that, I mean, people don't realize, like, and he actually said it the most simply, is I started talking to people that no one else was talking to. And that was the best way that he could have put it.
I always said that Russell was the voice, or there's 3 voices in comedy before Russell. Yep. There was black, white, and Jewish.
Yes.
And then Russell came up, and everybody who didn't have somebody to relate to had Russell.
Is an international, literally an international comic. I just talked to him on, so if today's Monday, I just talked to him on Thursday, and he had just literally come back from touring Jakarta, Singapore, New Zealand, Sydney. He just shot his DVD in Sydney, which he destroyed. And I mean, they're not clubs. Like, Russell plays arenas. Like, whenever I open for Russell, it's literally on average between, say, 6,000 to 12,000 people.
Okay, how the fuck do you, like, seriously, man? Honestly, you were just in Timmins this weekend. It's different vibe. Like, how does it work for 12,000 people?
You just ride the rhythm, man. You know what I always tell people the cool part about opening for Russell is half the battle is people are already there to laugh. All you need to do is do your job and tell your jokes, and as long as they like what you're doing, they're going to laugh.
Can you feel 12,000 people
sure?
laughing?
Are you kidding me?
Like, is there like a
You have to
wave?
wait. You have to wait. Like sometimes you'll do a joke and in your head you're like, oh my God, that went horrible. And then all of a sudden, boom, this wave of laughter hits you. And then you kind of got to like slow down the setup that you're already into, leading to the next punchline. But the key is just keep going, man. And the setup, if you've ever opened for Russell, it's actually amazing. There's cameras there. There's giant screens.
Because he plays with the crowd.
Yeah, on either side of the stage. There's like, so they catch everything. They catch what you're doing. If you happen to talk to someone in the crowd, the camera immediately isolates that person. So, they try to do their best in an arena
It's
to
a good
create,
job.
to create an intimate,
yeah.
as best as possible with 12,000 people.
That's just fucked up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
My first ever pro spot was on a Russell weekend that Wafik
Wow.
took me on.
Wow.
Wafik Nazrela and Ottawa was, hey man, you want to come?
Wafik.
Yeah, do you want to do guest spots for me and Russell Peters? And I'd seen Russell on TV, and that's when he was doing my right jab, my left jab, my poon jab.
My Punjab.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
and then I remember it was my first time meeting him, and he's wearing a monogram shirt. And he leaned into me, goes, and I go to introduce myself, he says, RDP. You see it? Russell Dominic Peters. And,
Still the same.
yeah, and I said, you asshole. And then he
Still the
laughed,
same.
and I think he thought it was cool that I called him an asshole for that.
Still the same. He's
Yeah.
still the same dude. He's
Yeah.
just disturbingly
Super great
rich.
guy.
Disturbingly rich, but still the
Just
same dude.
Ridiculously generous, too.
Yes.
I mean,
over the top generous.
people don't know this about Russell, but I mean, I've seen him talk to, here's a few moments I've seen with Russell where broke, hard to do comic is he's Russell in the back of the room. Russell shakes his hand, and there happens to be like a $50 bill or something in it. Guy goes to thank Russell. Russell pretends like he didn't just do that.
Yep.
Like,
That's what he is.
yeah.
He's a lot of people have these huge misconceptions about him, but he's still the same dude. We still giggle like little girls when we're together,
Yeah.
and have a great time.
Ben Miner returns as Comic Stripped continues after this. Now back to Ben Miner and Comic Stripped on Laugh Attack.
Must be cool to be buddies for people for that long within the industry. Like, I got my boys, like Matty Billen is my
Yeah.
boy, John
Love
Steinberg.
Maddie. Love Stain.
And it'd be great to, like, 10, 15 years
Yep.
from now to know that we're still doing
Yep.
this. We're still, like, how much satisfaction do you get from seeing your peer group? I mean, when I think of you, I think of Russell, I think of Gavin, I think of
Yep.
Ron Jossel,
Yep.
I think of a certain group of
Yep.
people who just happen to be really fucking good comics.
yeah.
Like, you guys have gone on to do good things.
I think we've kind of encouraged each other to we've realized, and I think we also realize, and I know I definitely realized that my path isn't Russell's path, or isn't Ron's path, or isn't Gavin's path, isn't Jason Rouse's path. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their own way to go. It's just that, as long as you still get to do what you get to do, and then every now and then some of the coolest things is to meet up with your boys or your girls, depending upon whether you got some comedians in your in your crew, somewhere outside of where you would normally be. Like recently I got to link up with Ron actually in LA. Like he was there separately doing shows, and then I was doing shows. I got to do shows at the Improv and at the Comedy Store and stuff like that. And then he was doing, stuff outside of that. And we just kind of got to roll and hang out in LA. And it was just the coolest feeling, just being there as boys, but
Yeah.
also knowing that we're there to slang jokes, So it was pretty dope.
Yeah, it's got to be a cool feeling,
Oh,
man.
it's awesome.
I can't
It's
imagine.
awesome.
Like, you guys you're all good buddies. There's got to be a buddy movie made about.
I'd love to do one. I would love to do an international flavor, and hopefully, eventually, Russell's going to be the guy that is going to take the reins, and try to do something like that, and see if we can come up with something. I think it would be hilarious. And I mean, just because we're guys of Filipino or
Yeah.
or Trinidadian or Indian or
Rouse.
whatever, yeah, or Rouse. You gotta. It doesn't mean that we can't have some Canadians, some white boys and stuff like that, which would be pretty dope. Because I mean, everyone's like I said, I ain't a hater. I just like to be cool with who's cool.
Yeah,
If we're
you guys,
cool, we're cool.
you guys are so cool. Jossel is one of my good friends too. That guy works his balls off.
People have no clue. He's one of the hardest working
Oh,
dudes.
yeah.
It's mostly in the kitchen, but I mean, he is one of the hardest working dudes. Again, I just talked to him this morning before I came down to do the show. I told him I was coming down. He said to say what's up, but he's off to England next week.
Yeah, right?
He's
Like,
off
of course
to England
he
to do
is.
some shows, and just like that, boom.
It's nice to see people that are worth admiring do things that are admirable. You know what I mean?
I agree. If
I-
they put in the work, you can't hate on someone who puts in the work and the effort.
And we haven't talked about this. I mean, you've worked your dick off. I mean, you did the Comedy Inc. series.
Yeah, but
then you had the Ninja.
I did the Ninja Maker. I wrote
Yeah.
a pilot for Ninja Maker for Teletoon, which is still probably one of the most fun and most interesting projects I've ever worked
But you
on.
get off your ass and you do shit. I
You
dig
got
that,
to.
man.
You know, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just my parents have instilled a pretty decent work ethic in me, and as well as you obviously love what you do, because I mean, you do a great job here at XM as well as on stage and stuff. But you realize in order to continue doing stuff like this, you need to put in the work.
Oh no, absolutely.
So, but you still love what you do. Yeah, sure, it's discouraging, but I mean, what are your, you know what the option is, and no disrespect to anybody with a 9 to 5, I can't and refuse to
it's hard.
even conceive of going back to doing a 9 to 5 unless I'm writing on a TV show and these are my hours. But even if you're writing on a TV show, it's not, you know,
Creativity doesn't
Yeah.
limit itself to those
Yeah.
8 hours a day.
and also it's not, you know, 4 seasons a year. You write for that season
Yeah.
of whatever it is, and then you can move on to a completely different project. Whereas if I'm an insurance underwriter, no disrespect to the insurance underwriters,
you guys are good people.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different. Like I can go from working on, you know, a Ninja Maker to working on, you know, the Russell Peters Christmas special, to working on the Junos, which I've done, to working on the Geminis, which I've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm also not a big dude I'm not a big guy who I don't like to throw my resume around. I do what I do because I love what I do. I don't do what I do to throw it in anyone's face.
No, that's cool.
You know.
Yeah, you let the resume show when it needs to, when there's a gig.
Yeah,
or something
exactly,
online.
exactly.
I hate it when dudes are on Facebook talking about shit that they're going to do. So just promote it when it's done,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
won't
yeah.
hate on
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
When it's done,
yeah.
you should promote it. But if
I
you're
agree.
like going to the studio to hang out with blah blah blah,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go get fitted for this thing I'm shooting in a month from now. Oh God.
I've got a wardrobe call.
Yeah.
Doing a, you know,
Why
it's
don't you
like,
just tell me about how much you comb your hair at the same time?
Oh,
God,
stop
I
it.
miss having hair. It
so
was
do
so
I.
much
I
rad.
really do.
It was so rad.
I really do. It's bad enough I got glasses, and everywhere I walk in the wintertime, it just my glasses literally fog up, and I
There's a
completely
trick
look
to
like
that.
Really? What is
Yeah.
it?
You walk in backwards.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, you can just do it with your glasses. You take them off and you put them backwards, and then they don't fog up.
What?
Yeah.
So either I walk in backwards or I take my glasses off and spin my glasses
Yeah.
around? Are you serious?
100%.
And it took me this long to find that out.
It's fucked. I
You
think it's
son
because
of
of
a
the
bitch.
air hitting the other side of the
You
lens.
son of a bitch. I can't believe I'm just finding this out.
We learn lots of stuff on the radio when people listen to this show. We just learned how to defog your glasses, how to make it in showbiz. JP's a hero. You
Thank
got a
you.
family and stuff too, man.
Yeah, man. I got-
Admirable.
I got 2 beautiful kids, a dope wife, you know. And
Comedy's giving you real things.
comedy has made me the coolest guy that I am today. If it wasn't for comedy, I wouldn't be this cool, to be honest with you.
How old are your kids?
My daughter turns 3 in a couple months, and my son turns 5 in September.
So they're probably about a good 5-10 years away from being able to appreciate what dad does for a living.
They know what well, my son knows what I do, and then they know that I go to work, because whenever I'm breaking out at night, they're like, Daddy's got to go to work. So so at least they get it. And they've actually, it's funny, because they've seen me on TV. Like they've seen me, because I've done a couple of shows like Strombo, you know, that kind of stuff. And they're like, hey, Daddy, it's on TV. So I like introducing them to that, because I don't want them to be surprised. I would love to be able to take them to not on a regular, but I'd like to take them to a comedy club, you know, just so that they can at least, you know, see what I do and not be intimidated later on when you know, if they're 8 or 9 or 10 and they want to come hang out backstage or whatever. I don't want to censor them to anything. Also, I don't want them, you know, hanging around and Daddy's like, yeah, fuck this and motherfuckers. You know, I don't mean like that, but I'd like them to be comfortable, you know, with what I do just as much as they'd be comfortable going to Mommy's work as well. You know?
And I mean, that's what kids do. I remember going to my mom's work when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Listen, man, comics have kids too. Let the kids come see and hang out and
That's
shit.
what I'm talking about, baby.
Yeah. JP's a real dude. He's a real dude with a real life. He's really funny. And yeah, thanks for being on my show today, man.
Thanks for having me.